Hey friends, this is Bridget Danner, and I'm here for a really exciting presentation that is part one on cellular detox. So, this lesson will focus on antioxidants, and then I'll do some more later on the mitochondria and on binders. So, I made some slides for you. Let me just share for a second. Okay, so I'm just going to go straight through these. And this is our objective today and what you'll be learning about. And this is really my position and my goal for this talk is to my argument is that antioxidants are really under discussed in the world of detox. They are so important, and I think what I'm finding is people are like, "Oh, I know about those are blueberries or whatever," and like they don't realize how powerful they are. So I really came to appreciate them as I was writing my book. This is the book on the slide, The Ultimate Toxic Mold Recovery Guide. And I was covering, some top supplements for detox from mold, and glutathione is one that you've probably heard of. But as I went to study glutathione and exactly how it works and other antioxidants, I was really impressed and I wanted to learn more. And honestly, right off the bat, it was hard to find books on antioxidants. But I did find this book, The Antioxidant Miracle by Lester Packer and Carol Coleman. Dr. Packer unfortunately passed away a couple years ago. I honestly wish I could have met him and interviewed him. He basically spent his whole career learning about antioxidants, which really, weren't even discovered till the 20th century, and how they interact. And it's just a really great book. So he presents these network antioxidants. There are 5 of them that support each other. And they're sort of the most critical, although there are lots of antioxidants. And there are many, many, many polyphenols, which are antioxidant, or most of them are antioxidant plant compounds. So these are the 5: vitamin C, CoQ10, vitamin E, glutathione, ALA. These are the 5 most important. Glutathione is the most numerous, the biggest amount in our body. So it's sometimes called the master antioxidant, and it gets depleted in mold illness, which is probably why you hear about it for mold illness. It's just, it is very important, but it does not act alone. Just a little note on these slides: a couple of these antioxidants we cannot produce. So I think there's some misconception that we get everything from food, but actually our body can make a lot of different nutrients and enzymes and all that. And the body makes a lot, but we are one of only like 3 mammals or 3 animals who can't make our own vitamin C. And then also vitamin E we need to get from outside sources. And then the other ones, frankly, deplete with aging and then again with toxic exposure. So, since glutathione is sort of the antioxidant that people do associate with detox, I want to speak to for a minute on what supports glutathione. And this is a limited list. This isn't everything, but you can see everything I mentioned on the last slide supports glutathione, as well as doing coffee enemas, which is a technique I teach about. This is another book I found when I was in my antioxidant research phase. This is a newer book called The Glutathione Revolution by Nayan Patel. And it's a really interesting book as well. Glutathione does a lot for your skin, and if you want a deep dive, it's a good book. So as we continue here, this is an educational presentation. I'm not your physician, so definitely have a relationship with a physician and always discuss any supplements or changes you're going to make with a physician, especially if you're taking medication or you're pregnant or you have special conditions. This is a very unflattering picture of me when I was at my sickest with toxic mold. I think this was actually from a video I was taking of my eye. My eyelid was twitching, but you can just see like how puffy I am from all the lymph holding the toxins that, I couldn't process. So if you're, out and about with friends or whatever, you'll often hear people say, "Oh, I need to do a detox." Why do people say that? So often they're feeling, puffy, they're feeling heavy, they're feeling sore, tired, foggy. So there's this sense that we need to detox. There's some kind of sense of that like we've overdone it, right? And these are some of the ways that people detox. And, these can all be good. Eating less often, doing some kind of controlled fasting, stopping drinking, Whole 30, having really clean foods without any processed foods is a great idea. Sauna is getting more popular. Some other things that people may do is buy some kind of liver support, right? Or, in our community, you may know more to do castor oil packs and glutathione and binders. So all these things are supportive of detox, but they're really just sort of, throwing it out there, or a kind of a mainstream sometimes approach to things. So let's really dive into what is happening when our bodies are exposed to a toxic load. So, at the smallest level of our biology is the cell and what happens within the cell. Um, and I circled a few key parts here that will come up as we do this series. So, the mitochondria, cell membrane, and the nucleus. And then cells come together as a certain type to make tissue types. So these are the four main tissue types: nervous tissue, epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, connective tissue. I just was curious what thyroid was made out of, so I looked it up. So it's a loose connective tissue and epithelial cells that kind of produce, follicular means they kind of grow and produce um, enzyme in this case. So I was just kind of wondering why, the thyroid gland is pretty sensitive, right? So maybe it's a little more exposed because of the structure. So cells become tissues, become organs, become organ systems, and that's what makes up us. So when all these systems are working well, that's when you feel good, right? You don't feel like heavy and bloated and you need to detox. You feel, energetic. You're not getting sick all the time. Your mood is good. It's really when all these systems are working how they're meant to be. So let's talk about toxins. This little quote says there's 3 types: biological toxins made by an organism, chemical toxins that may be made in nature or a lab, and then radiation is its own category of toxicity. You may hear the term toxicants, and that's usually for man-made toxins. So a toxin can be as small as an atom or ion, which negatively interferes with a cell. So we're going to learn more about that as we learn about oxidative damage. A free radical, which we'll also be talking more about, capable of independent existence and contains an unpaired electron in an atomic orbital. The presence of an unpaired electron results in certain common properties that are shared by most radicals. Many radicals are unstable and highly reactive. So when a free radical, and we'll get more into it, is floating around, if it doesn't get neutralized by an antioxidant, it will cause damage to cell membrane, mitochondria, nucleus, DNA, and then potentially, whole tissues, whole organ systems, right? So this is why free radicals are really dangerous and antioxidants are really important. They can do a lot of damage. So the body does make free radicals. They aren't like all bad. They're part of sort of a natural process. So every time you lift weights or take a walk or use your brain, you're making free radicals in the process of making energy and other processes in the body. So what's supposed to happen is like a teeter-totter, right? There should be free radicals sort of weighing down the body and then antioxidants balancing it back out. So here's something really important to get in this concept of antioxidants for detox. The liver will create this free radical waste while it's detoxifying. So you can imagine if you're living in a moldy home still, and your liver is working as hard as it can to detoxify you, it's making more waste. And meanwhile, the white blood cells in the immune system is also working to deal with everything. So usually when I'm using mold in this example because it's our specialty. If you've got a long exposure to mold, you also have gut infections, weak immunity, maybe Lyme disease has flared up, Epstein-Barr virus has flared up. The body is working to deal with those things, and it's producing more waste. So not only do you have the original toxins, the mold, mycotoxins, the virus, and its waste, etc., now you have more waste, so to speak, being produced while you try to kill it. So this is a little bit of a repeat idea, but I'm just trying to get you to understand all the concepts. So free radicals are generated due to oxidation. That's when oxygen meets a thing and is transformed. So when a reactant loses electrons during a reaction, it's called oxidation. These next few slides may get a little complicated, but I am going to sum it all up. So when one molecule gives up an electron to another, scientists say it is oxidized. Oxidation happens through chemical reactions in our body all the time. The process creates free radicals, which can cause damage that raises our risk for heart attack, stroke, cancer, and other problems. So beyond the conversation of detox, which we're focusing on here, all of these diseases of, that have a mortality rate, right? Like heart attack, cancer, stroke. There's also oxidation and free radicals involved in that as well. So again, once there's a missing electron due to a different reaction, that the free radical kind of waste product can react with anything and to take an electron for itself. So basically an unpaired electron wants its pair and it will take it from wherever it can get it. This is why you want antioxidants to hit it first. So we have the word oxidation, right? We just kind of learning. And then antioxidants balance that out. So antioxidants basically give up an electron to calm this process. And a little bit more of that. So say a free radical robs an electron from a healthy cell. Now it's not functioning properly and it's missing an electron. So now it wants to take an electron from somewhere else. And now you've got a big mess, right? A big chain reaction. Our immune system soldiers lose their control and end up marauding and pillaging throughout the body, destroying healthy cells and tissues. So this is basically an example of autoimmunity, right? So why does the body attack healthy cells and tissues? Well, it can't tell the difference. It doesn't know, what to attack because there's so much damage, healthy tissue being, turned unstable. So here's one example of how, in this case, a bacterial exotoxin could affect a cell. So these exotoxins are just sort of a waste being produced by a bacteria. And there's kind of one of two options. The cell can accept it at a receptor site, and then they can enter and kill the cell. Or if the body's produced some antibodies to it already, so that's the immune system, it will recognize it and stop it. So the exotoxins, the antigen, and then the antibody stops it. So that's how things should happen, right? But you can imagine if your body is just overwhelmed, your immune system is confused, more tissue is going to be damaged. So I know that was a lot, but we'll kind of sort through it in a minute. And these are just some examples of toxins that you probably know about. Whoops. Well, there's supposed to be a second list. I don't know where it is. And then I thought I'd do a little deep dive into mold toxins because I still get these questions a lot and I wanted to sort through it for my own self as well. So mold is a biological material, right? We've all seen mold on food, and it grows in the presence of moisture, such as a food, wood, a grain. Um, little tiny mold spores are kind of everywhere, right? We can't completely have no mold, which is an argument some people make on mold not being dangerous. Well, this can still be very dangerous. So, kind of here's why. Mycotoxins are metabolites just kind of produced in the process of mold growing or protecting itself. It doesn't happen all the time. Not a very small minority of molds produce a very damaging mycotoxin. They are chemicals, and we'll see more about that. And they can potentially degrade over time, but it can be a long time. So people say, well, can you kill mycotoxins? No, because you can't really kill a chemical, right? But you could neutralize the toxicity of the chemical. So here's an illustration from surviving mold. You can see the mold has spores, a kind of a root system. The spore is the smallest aspect, and then it can make colonies. Really, only a colony can be visible, not a spore. And then the chemical mycotoxin is invisible and odorless, and it's just going wherever it wants. So, very diverse group of chemicals and their structure. Here's a few example names you may have heard of. And this I think is important because people will tell me, oh, well, I was told I have this mycotoxin or this mold, and like, what exactly do I do for this one? So, one mold species may produce many different mycotoxins, and several species may produce the same mycotoxin. So, don't get too hung up on what mold or mycotoxin was found at a given moment. And there's a little more information on this. The production of mycotoxins by a fungal colony varies with environmental conditions. So it varies. It's not going to be the same, if you test in the spring versus the winter versus your bedroom versus the attic, right? It's different. So again, do not get hung up on exactly which you have. If you're sick and your house has a mold problem, just, that's the key part. And, they don't exist alone. Mold itself produces also volatile organic compounds. There can be bacteria present if there's, um, water damage. So I thought this was a really great quote. Where do I say? Exposure normally occurs in concert. A complete understanding of the health effects of fungi demand that this fact be recognized and studied. So the mold itself can be allergenic, and then there's all these other, it's a big mix, really. And that is really something we don't fully understand yet. So more than 500 mycotoxins. This one kind of blew my mind. There could be other mycotoxins that we just don't even know about because we don't have a way to measure them yet. How interesting is that, right? So they're sneaky, they're strong, and we just don't fully know what we're dealing with. This I thought was worth sharing. Children are the most sensitive to mycotoxins due to their developing body systems and their smaller body mass. So I was learning recently, per body mass, children breathe more, drink more, eat more, and their organs are developing, right? Which we've just learned about how organs can be damaged from mycotoxins, including the brain. So just super important to protect our children. It's just a small example of some of the chemical structures of different mycotoxins. So I am no chemist at all, but you can definitely see that there are big varieties. So again, I said a chemical can potentially be neutralized. I don't know if they're sort of adding molecules to it, I'm guessing is how that's done. But the body can neutralize mycotoxins, and it just needs to actually eliminate them. But here's a few other things that could neutralize mycotoxins. Like, I'm putting it kind of loosely because I'm not saying to run out and do any of these things. Some of this research is from the cattle farming kind of field where they're thinking about how to kill, or not kill, neutralize mycotoxins in grain. I'm not a fan of bleach in that it's mostly water, but some of the ingredients in bleach could neutralize mycotoxins. So again, this is not like a guidebook, but people are always asked, like, what could kill mycotoxins? Oh, I should have added to this list enzymes. So some of the things you can buy, like for home cleaning, contain, soapy water, essential oils like thyme, and then there also are enzyme products that can neutralize the mycotoxins. Okay, so exactly what is the liver doing to detox? So all the blood comes through the liver, and the liver is meant to filter it and then transform toxins into waste products. So, we always say, oh, I got to support my liver. Yes, you do. It's not always by fasting and stopping alcohol, although those things could be helpful. It's often about giving your liver a lot of nutrition. So what you'll see on here, antioxidants, glutathione, its precursor, NAC, B vitamins, zinc, kidney and liver herbs can support it. Oxygen can support it. Amino acids, you need a big range of amino acids for your liver. Magnesium, people don't really think of. Broccoli sprouts, that's one that we really promote. Flavonoids, those are polyphenols that we talked about. TUDCA, and bioactive carbons we can get into on a different class. Fiber is just helping move stuff out of the gut. Prokinetics or gut moving herbs also do the same. Lots of water, coffee enemas are mentioned. So I didn't make this slide, but I really appreciate it because it's just supporting a lot of what we're learning about here today. So Toxins basically enter your bloodstream either from internal waste or from external exposure. Now your liver and immune system and your antioxidants are responding. More free radicals are made as the systems respond. Your antioxidants that already have been called to the front lines of cellular support now have a second load of more waste. So you can see the teeter-totter can be getting a little sideways where the free radicals are winning, so to speak. There aren't enough antioxidants to keep up. So you are getting cellular damage, tissue damage. And when you have the cellular damage, tissue damage, you don't feel good. And maybe you're trying to detox, you're doing things to detox, and you may even sometimes feel worse because you can't exit or process all the toxins that have come through. So, some things you may feel are just a lot of soreness, you can't tolerate exercise, you don't recover well, you're exhausted either just all the time or from thinking. You don't recover well when you take a little rest, you don't bounce back. Um, your mental clarity is going. Your skin is looking older and looser and splotchier than you'd like it to. Your vision is worsening. Perhaps you're seeing lab markers like your blood sugar going up or triglycerides going up. That's another thing that oxidation can contribute to. Maybe your immune system is really reactive and you're having more allergies. Oops. So, just going back to this picture, how do you support all that? You support it with all these nutrients, right? Not just glutathione, which is for some reason the only one hardly talked about in this detox world for mold. You need antioxidants, you need lots of protein, you need magnesium. You need B vitamins. I'm shocked at how many people aren't taking B vitamins, aren't taking multivitamin. These are water soluble vitamins that you lose every day. And if you're detoxing all the time and you're exposed to toxins, you need more of them. Broccoli sprouts we sell and are very simple. And now we have our new polyphenol product. So these are our antioxidants, and we put them all on sale because of the new one. So this My Detox Electrolytes contains electrolytes. It also contains 1,000 milligrams vitamin C. It contains certain B vitamins, especially important for detox. It has quercetin, which we'll learn more about. So it's really made for the detox mold client. CoQ10 we mentioned briefly as a key antioxidant, especially for oxidation at the ATP mitochondrial level. So it really helps, in other words, with the energy of your cells and preventing some DNA damage. So our high potency multivitamins does contain B vitamins, obviously. It's not sold out anymore. And it has some other antioxidants in it as well. So, we put that on sale as well. It has the vitamin E, vitamin C, all that. Whoops. So here are a few more. Broccoli seed and sprout we included as it's very helpful for mold detox, and it's very gentle. It supports the liver itself. It detoxes other things like gasoline additives, and it specifically helps detox mycotoxins. The Ultimate Antioxidant Synergy is our new product, and I'll tell you more about that in a second. And then lastly, this is the Glutathione Synergy. This is our version of glutathione. And again, it does not have to be a liposomal. I feel like that's the big trend, and that's a bit of old research. We just need the glutathione to get into you. So this glutathione is attached to, I think it's an acetyl group, which means it won't break down. It won't lose its acetyl group and be broken down by the digestive system. It will lose its acetyl group in the bloodstream when it enters a cell. It also has NAC, which is the glutathione precursor, and 1B vitamin. So a little bit more about the antioxidant synergy. It has acerola for vitamin C. It has a long list of things. So I'll just highlight a few. I mean, you know about curcumin. Grapeseed extract is probably not one you'll take normally, but it's very high in polyphenols. It's got some herbs and spices that are really high in polyphenols. It's got some things for eye health, reproductive health, immune health, brain health. So here's a few things. I'm really proud of the vitamin E it contains. It's double the RDA in this special form that is actually doesn't come in foods. It only can come in a supplement, and it's a fatty antioxidant. So those are good for your fatty substances in your body, like cell membranes, and they can enter a cell too and work on giving antioxidants to components within the cell, like the mitochondria. Grapeseed extract, I mentioned, very high in polyphenols. Resveratrol is in there. And just one thing that it does is it can prevent excess estrogen from being produced, which can happen when we're toxic, basically. Quercetin, rutin, ginkgo are all anti-inflammatory, which is important when you're detoxing, and neuroprotective. And then most importantly, just to go back to the glutathione, if you want more glutathione in your body, things like polyphenols, vitamin C, vitamin E, these are all important. They all work together. And they're very well tolerated. You almost can't take too many. So I just feel that they're really, again, underrepresented in this detox conversation. The only one we're not carrying is the alpha lipoic acid. I would actually love to carry it, but we just kind of need to get people educated up on antioxidants first, and why to take them, and why to take more than just one, right? If you're only taking glutathione, where are its helpers? It doesn't have any helpers. So again, I don't know if I covered this. The antioxidants can help recycle each other, support each other so let's say there's a certain free radical and the best antioxidant for the job is glutathione. It can borrow an electron from, say, vitamin C, and then use that electron to neutralize the free radical, give it an electron. So there's all this like borrowing and recycling that goes on within the liver, and it's in the bloodstream. So you need all the components. You don't just need one. And yes, I do encourage you to get it from food. Great. Buy broccoli sprouts, drink ginger tea, use turmeric in your food. But if you're sick, you're going to need more support than that. And frankly, we're all exposed to toxins, whether it's mold or just everyday toxins nowadays. So I think we all need more support than, just doing our best with diet. So I take my antioxidant every night. I feel like it helps me recover. And I think it has a lot of great anti-aging longevity effects. So hopefully I made a convincing argument for you here today. We mentioned that magnesium is needed for the liver. So also on sale at our shop, which is just functionaldetoxproducts.com, is 2 different forms of magnesium. We got overstocked on a bunch of stuff. So it's 40% off. So it's a really good time to stock up. Magnesium is really important for your brain, for your hormones, for your mood, and for your liver. So some of our things are 15% off, and some are actually 40% off on clearance. So that's just through Sunday, the 23rd. We gave you a little extra time because I wanted to give this presentation. The next 2 presentations will be on binders and mitochondrial health. I do not have any dates for those yet, as summer is kind of coming up, but I actually do plan to do those this summer, I think. So if you're not already following me on YouTube, you can do that to stay tuned. You can also go to our website and get on the newsletter to stay tuned. Basically, just download like any of our freebies. My book is on Amazon. It's a great resource if you're going through mold. All these products are at functionaldetoxproducts.com. We do also sell lab testing and consultations. And this is my newer ebook on these 5 antioxidants in the antioxidant network. So it's at our main site, bridgetdanner.com/freebies. There's a bunch of other ebooks on there. And again, they're free, and then you'll be on our newsletter. So thank you so much for watching. I think that's my last slide. I feel like I still bungled a bit explaining free radicals and oxidation. So I'll just give my little quick summary that, free radicals are made normally, and we need enough antioxidants to balance them out. But when we are exposed to more toxins, those are stirring the pot and creating more free radicals as the body tries to deal with them. So frankly, more antioxidants, the better. So, again, get a variety of them. I'd love for you to try some of our products, especially when there's so much on sale. We always offer 30% or 30-day money back thing. But I really don't see people complaining that antioxidants, bothered them, because there's something our body needs. So they're usually really well tolerated. If you have any questions, you can reach out to our team through bridgetdanner.com. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.